Good morning, afternoon, wherever you may be. It's Ty, the LinkedIn guy, with a really bad cough. And I'm wearing my spacesuit today. Look at that. Armstrong. I feel like Neil Armstrong. Today what I wanted to talk about was five reasons why your content marketing, why your attraction marketing on LinkedIn is getting you nowhere, and why it's not getting you clients. Because we're always told about attraction marketing and the power of putting your content out there and getting people coming to you endlessly from amazing stuff that you put out. And as you've probably noticed, guys, on LinkedIn, I'm just going to share this into my group. Sorry. As you've probably noticed on LinkedIn, it doesn't really work for the huge majority of business owners. And there's a reason for that. And I'm going to talk about 5 key reasons why your attraction marketing isn't working, and really why it sucks. So a number of things. First of all, you've got to realize that on LinkedIn, the algorithm and the way it works is different to Facebook. Because the engineering blog on LinkedIn themselves, they actually showed us the method in which they put content and they show it to your network. And the way it goes is, and they actually have a human involved. This is what they said in their engineering blog, is that when you put a post out there, it is evaluating, and this changes, right, as well. So, but what they're saying happens is when you put a post out, they show it to a percentage of your first connections. And then, based on the engagement of that, they will then up it and show it to more of your first connections. And based on that response, then they go wider afield and show it to first and second and third connections. And that's when things can start to go viral. For you when it starts to go beyond that second and third connection. But as you've probably noticed, that the posts also don't last very long. They last about 72 hours, and still I'm still seeing this, but they last about 72 hours, and then they're kind of gone. And people aren't seeing it, and you're not getting those posts that like you see on Facebook where they're for years, they keep on coming back. You see an article and you look at it, it's like 2013, and that post is still going viral. So you've got to think your algorithm. Now, where that comes into play is your connections. Your connections are really, really important. If you have a small network of people, less than 500 or even less than kind of 1,000, you've got to think that this is your content is only being shared to like a percentage of them, right? So it's getting shown like to 10 people, 20 people. And then they have to see it, right? They have to be scrolling through that news feed at that moment that you are launching. It gets shown to them. They have to show interest in it and then engage in it. So it's a very, very small play when you put content out there and you have a small network that only a small percentage of actually going to see it. It could be in the single digits or low. Hi, Tony. I am wearing spacesuit. I bought it. Yeah, from NASA. So it's getting shown for a very, very, very small percentage. And as I said, it relates to your network then. So if your network is very small, then the chances of your content getting eyeballs on, it's just minute. It's just minute. Now, the third thing is that, you like it, Tony? The third thing is that your network that you've constructed if you haven't been deliberate with the way you have built out your network and your first connections, you are likely to have a very large percentage of your network being inactive on LinkedIn. And what I mean by that, active is rated on LinkedIn as that someone has come in and posted content in the last 30 days. They've done a post on LinkedIn in the last 30 days. Now, one thing that's really interesting, if you have a Sales Navigator account, you can bring up all your first connections and you can spotlight it for active. Have a look at what percentage of your total network are actually active on LinkedIn. It may be shocking. You may find it could be 10, as low as 10%. So everyone that you're connected to, only 10% have actually come on and posted anything on LinkedIn in the last month. Now, as you start to run any kind of strategy, one big hint, guys, as you build your network, just connect with active players. Stack it in your favor. Stack it in your favor that everyone you connect to is actually an active user of LinkedIn, actually goes in and uses it. It makes sense, right? So it means that when you share stuff and when you experience, when you want to put stuff out there in a particular niche, you are most likely stacking it in your favor with active players. So they're going to see it. They're more conducive to doing business with you on LinkedIn. They're more likely to post, like, engage, everything about it, right? So, and this is why the majority of people that are relying on a content marketing strategy alone, i.e. just post stuff and hope people come, are sadly disappointed. Because what they don't realize is that they've stacked a network of people that aren't active and they're not going to get anything from it. The fourth thing that really causes issues is the profile. Your profile, if it isn't talking to your ideal client avatar, if it isn't structured in a way where it highlights those pain points that these people suffer from, and that there's a solution, that you actually hold the keys to a solution, and what others say about that, if there's none of that social proof in there, you are dramatically reducing the chances of converting, right? Of getting them to look back. Because if you're putting content out about a subject and you want to be that subject matter expert, and then they go and look at your profile and the profile isn't congruent with what you're saying and the information you're putting out, it can be a big turnoff. It could cause them to pause. It could cause that momentary where they're like, yeah, not really. So this is why it's really important that your profile and the stuff that you're putting out into the market as content is congruent and makes sense. It makes sense to your ideal client avatar that you should be putting that out there, that you should be seen as the expert. Right? So I find so many people on LinkedIn, is that they put the stuff out there, but then their profile simply doesn't do them any justice. It doesn't match. What they're purporting to be, and therefore there's a big disconnect. And especially if your page is just looking like a resume, like everyone else's, this reverse chronological ordered resume. Man, it's the most boring thing. Now, remember, guys, a resume is used for getting a job. You're not trying to get a job. You're trying to get leads. You're trying to get clients. You're trying to get into discussions with people so they become your clients. So that's a huge disconnect that I see. So just recapping, the algorithm, your network, your active players, and your profile, 4 things that are just destroying results of content marketing. And the 5th thing is that the content sucks. Like, there's a point, guys, where you just got to understand that not all of us, and I'm one of them, I'm not great at producing the content, and I kind of don't like doing it. And I found, from my experience of 14 years of using the platform and seeing us take, over $22 million in fees off LinkedIn organically over a 13-year period in particular, was that it wasn't our content marketing and our content strategy that led us to all that money. In fact, it was rarely any year we exceeded about 7% of the revenue came from our inbound. It was from our strategic outreach. And it was because of that I guess I suffer from being a bit lazy about content marketing, because I just know that putting stuff out there, it's a lot of work, and it's fine if you've got time for that. But it's also the most unpredictable and unreliable way for me to have a pipeline of leads, because I can't, if I put something out there, you might get some likes, but you can't go to the bank and you can't pay bills with likes unless people are actually coming to me after their like and say, hey, that's great. Well, tell me about how you do this. It's not serving any purposes. It's just a vanity number. It's a vanity number. And, I see some other LinkedIn coaches out there, great, and they love putting content. In the video, they're getting like 100, 150 likes on the post. Awesome. If that works for them, great. But the fact is, what I've found in my practice and my clients' practice is that rarely do I come across a normal entrepreneur, normal business entrepreneur. And I'm not talking about marketing experts. I'm talking about, a normal business entrepreneur selling their passion product or passion service. I've rarely seen them be able to have that same and emulate that same kind of success. Because, producing content at a high level and having it hit all those points, it's hard work. Unless you've got the panache for it, it's tough. But what I have seen work very successfully is when a business owner is able to learn how to identify ideal client avatars, how to, g'day Lionel, thank you, how to, actually craft a profile that talks to those pain points and show them have that empathy with their clients, and then show them how to engage consistently with those contacts. That's what leads to dialogue. That's what leads to getting more leads and your ability to actually then make a sale. Now, of course, the sales process, everyone can always improve on sales, but more importantly, it's as you get more eyeballs on you and on your messages, that's what's going to convert. And that becomes predictable, because then you can say, well, I have to do X amount of connection requests to get into X amount of conversations. And those conversation leads to X amount of sales calls. And when I'm on a sales calls, I close at 20%, 30%, whatever, at 10%. And it becomes a predictable funnel. But with content generation, and you're solely relying on that, you've got no predictability. Now, does that mean you shouldn't do it? Not at all. I coach to a very particular set of strategies for content, and a lot of it again is using LinkedIn and using the messenger and using the stuff behind the profile that you can't see, the engagement inside your network. That's where producing content, leveraging third-party content, all those good things really can pay off. Because you've got to remember, when you're connected with someone and they're in you and you've got them in your inbox, your message is going to be 100% delivered, okay? 100% deliverability in your inbox, and then near 100% open rates. Most people can't go without opening a LinkedIn, and if they see a little notification, can resist checking it. They just can't. And I see it over and over again. So when you're doing some content and you're doing outreach, and this is what I coach to particularly, think about that. Your inbox in LinkedIn can be very, very powerful when done right, run right, and you have a great nurturing content sequence in place. But that's why I just want to say, the content marketing stuff and the attraction marketing, it can work. Absolutely, it can work. However, for the vast majority of business, it just doesn't. It just doesn't as a single, kind of strategy. It has to be a part of a broader strategy. And for those that aren't marketers and great at producing content and charismatic on camera and all those kind of, young, handsome men and beautiful girls, I'm sorry, guys that look like me, we don't get too far. And you have to be at it all the time. And I know for so many business owners, they just don't have time. You don't have time to produce all that. And that's another thing, like realistic I'm coaching based on, building multiple businesses off the platform into 7 and 8 figure channels. And I just know that people don't have time to spend hours and hours inside the platform. So I coach specific strategies to really compress the time that you've got to be in there, and you stay efficient, because after about an hour, I find people just glaze over. It's just not the platform. It's just not a fun platform if you're using it as a lead generation tool, and certainly as a business owner. So there you go, guys. That's 5 reasons why attraction marketing doesn't work for you, most likely. If it does, and you put stuff up there, and every time you put a post, you get inbound, you get clients, awesome. Keep on doing it. But if you think that is going to be the key, I would say 95% of my client, it doesn't come from that. That's not where the money is. It comes from having that funnel in place, having all those pieces and elements working together. Really, really important. So that's it for me. I am done. I've got a call to do and some business to take care of. And I hope you like. I bought this. I really like it. Look at that. It looks cool. Well, I'm a space geek, so people laugh at it. But and funny enough, I wore it today. I had to go to the hospital, but Japanese very polite. No one said anything. Not one word. Not one. Oh, that's interesting. Or hey, you look stupid, nerd. I'm sure if I wore this out in Australia, I'd probably get laughed and teased. But not one person said anything to me. All right, guys. I'll see you later. Have a good one.